Oh, good morning. It is day one. I am still in Harpers, Ferry, hiking to the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. So I can check in, tell them I'm officially a thru hiker, and pick up a yellow tag identifying me as such. So after I do the check-in, that takes probably about 15-20 minutes from what I've heard. Then I'll cross the Potomac and start hiking north. Alrighty, I will see you in a bit. All right, I'm crossing the Potomac River. Say goodbye to West Virginia for a while, because when I cross over, I'm in Maryland. It's hard to believe it's actually started. I've had this moment in my mind for about a year and a half, because this is how you start from Harper's Ferry, and that's where I planned to start from the beginning of my planning, and now it's actually happening. All right, so got about 10 miles ahead of us today. And I'm going to camp near a shelter that's just off the trail. So that's what we're going to do today. Got my hang tag back at the Conservancy. It's attached to my pack. It's in the back of the pack. I'll take a picture of it later. And they had me talk a little bit about my plans for the trail, and especially the leave no trace principles of that. So now now I'm an official long distance hiker. Alrighty, I will see you in a bit. So I was hiking along the Potomac for a couple of miles. That part of the trail was a nice flat gravel, and then turned off, and now I'm in the woods. A little bit hilly. Had to go under a roadway, so there was a little bit of a dip there, and had to come back up. Nothing too bad so far. I think I saw a skink on the side of the trail, but it ran off quickly before I could grab a picture. I think it was a skink. It certainly wasn't a snake, and it wasn't a lizard, so somewhere in between. All right, crossing a little road here, and there's the trail. Just a few steps up into the woods. All right, I'll see you again later. So this is the first decent view off of the Waverton Cliffs. So I came from roughly in that direction. There's the Potomac. So here's the trail right now. It is fairly gentle, uphill, and a bit rocky, but not as bad as a little earlier. Earlier it's fairly steep and there's some switchbacks. This isn't too bad right now. Supposed to rain today, I thought, but so far haven't had any. But a storm's supposed to come through overnight, and then I think it's supposed to then cool down a bit. It's pretty warm right now, warmer than I was expecting. It's not as warm as Florida, but I had to take off my long sleeve shirt. It was just wasn't cooling well enough, especially going uphill. So threw on a different shirt, and a bit better now. Alrighty, I'll see you in a little bit. Oh. All right, so I'm about a mile and a half from the shelter that I'm using. I took a picture of the previous shelter. That was the first shelter along the trail the way I'm heading, at least from Harpers Ferry. And I was just taking a short break on a rock a little bit ago, and the Ridge Runner came by. Ridge Runners basically hike back and forth in their areas, maintaining things, so making sure the shelters are relatively clean. If there's any blowdowns on the trail, they can call it in and maybe try and get a crew up to clear it, things like that, and just to make sure people are safe. So nice young man. I say young man, he was younger than me, that's for sure. So that was neat. So right now it's pretty much rolling hills. There was the one big climb just a few miles in, and then once I got past that, it's been pretty much rolling hills, fairly rocky terrain. Haven't seen too much in the way of larger animals. Lots of birds. It was pretty nice earlier. I was walking by myself. Nothing else was nearby. I couldn't even hear cars from a road. Just the bird song. That was nice. All right, so I've got another 35-40 minutes of hiking to the shelter, and then I'll be time for rest and try and recuperate. That first climb was challenging. Even though I've been doing all that work, I could not prepare for a 1,000-foot change. But I got through it, and doing okay now. So, all right, I will be back, and when I get to the shelter, after I get set up, and I'll see you again then. So this state park Civil War battles that happened around here. And so there's a lot of historical markers nearby. You know, some ruins, structures. And there, there's a white blaze leading off towards the trail. So this is the Crampton Gap Shelter. This is where I'll be staying near it. Anyways, I've set up my tent up here a little bit. Right there, I don't know how you can see that. There's a box there that you can store your food in and any smellables. Can't see it from here, but I passed there's a small spring on the way that I've already filtered some water from. All right, so there's my gear. All right, and then over here, there's a short bridge. And there's a privy. Hooray. So this is where I'm staying for the night. It's about it said 0.3 miles off of the main trail. Mostly it's downhill to get there, which means I'm going to have to hike uphill to get back on the trail tomorrow. Oh well. So that's it for day one. I've had something to eat, and my shelter's ready to go. I've seen a couple other people come by here just to get water. I don't know if they're going back up to the trail, or there were a couple other areas not quite as far down where you could maybe put up a tent. But I set mine up right down here. All right, so Far Out says I did about 10.6 miles, trail miles. It looks like I did about 30,000 steps, so quite a few steps. And I'm okay. Legs are tired. Again, difficult to train for the hills in Florida. So I did the best that I could, and that'll get better with time. Just you gotta build up that strength, and just sort of get used to it. So tomorrow it's looking like I need to go about 12 miles tomorrow, I think, to get to or near the next shelter I want to stay at. Looks like there's going to be lots of ups and downs. Nothing quite as, I don't think there's anything quite as much as what I did earlier today. So, whatever there is, I'll attack it when I get there. All right, so let's see. First shout out is to my wife, Jen. There's no way that I could have done this without you. Thank you for holding down the fort while I'm gone, and giving me this chance. So there we go. All right. Well, if you stuck through to the end of the video, as always, I appreciate it. And I will see you again tomorrow on the trail.